Loki is standing over a sleeping woman with a blade in his hand. She's Sif, Thor's wife, and her hair, golden like a field of summer wheat, is the most beautiful thing in Asgard. Loki cuts all of it off, every strand, just to see the look on her face. 6 hours later, Thor has him pinned to the ground and is about to break every bone in his body, one at a time, slowly. Loki has about 10 seconds to talk his way out of this. What he comes up with will accidentally create the most famous weapon in mythology. He promises Thor new hair, real hair, golden, alive, better than what she lost, made by the only craftsman in the 9 realms who could do it. The dwarves. Not the dwarves you're picturing. In Norse myth, these are the people who build the things that hold the universe together. They forged the chain that binds Fenrir, a wolf strong enough to snap iron like thread, out of 6 impossible things, and it has held him for eternity. They live deep under the mountains, in forges older than the gods themselves, and they don't work for free, which is a problem, because Loki has nothing to pay them with, so he does what he always does. There are 2 dwarf families down there, and they can't stand each other. The sons of Ivaldi, the finest goldsmiths alive, and 2 brothers, Brock and Eitri, who are convinced they're better. Loki decides he isn't going to buy anything. He's going to make them compete, for free. He goes to the sons of Ivaldi first. Brock and Eitri, he tells them, have been going around calling themselves the greatest smiths who ever lived. And they've issued a challenge, 3 treasures each, judged by the gods themselves, starting with hair made of gold. The sons of Ivaldi light their forge that night. Then Loki walks across the mountain to Brock and Eitri and tells them the exact same story, with the names swapped. The Ivaldis issued the challenge. The Ivaldis called you second best. But these 2 are harder to play. Eitri looks at this god who has appeared in his workshop, with the story about a contest nobody else has mentioned. And before he strikes a single hammer blow, he sets one condition. If they win, Loki gives them his head. Not gold, not a favor, his head. And Loki, who has never once in his life believed he could lose an argument, says yes. Then he walks out of that workshop, and it hits him. He invented this contest. He picked both sides, and he has just bet his life that the family he manipulated first beats the family that saw straight through him. There's only one way out. He has to sabotage the competition he created. Eitri prepares the forge and gives his brother one job. Work the bellows, never stop, not for a heartbeat, because if the fire drops even once, whatever is inside is ruined. Then he puts a pigskin into the flames and turns away to work. And somewhere in the tunnels outside, Loki changes shape. Not into a wolf, not into a giant, into something small enough that nobody would ever think to look at it. A fly, black and quiet, slipping in through a gap in the stone. It lands on Brock's hand and drives its sting in. Brock doesn't flinch, he keeps pumping, and out of the fire comes a boar with bristles of living gold, bright enough to turn night into day. Eitri drops gold into the furnace and says the same thing. Don't stop. The fly comes back and bites his neck this time, hard enough to draw blood. Brock keeps pumping. Out of the fire comes an arm ring that will drop 8 identical rings of gold every 9th night, forever. 2 treasures, both perfect. Then Eitri takes a block of iron, drops it into the flames, and tells his brother that this is the one that matters. And the fly lands directly on Brock's eyelid and bites down with everything it has. Blood runs into his eye. He's blind. And for half a second, his hand comes off the bellows to wipe it clear. The fire dips. Outside, in the dark of the tunnel, Loki takes his own shape again and smiles. They carry all 6 treasures up to Asgard, and the gods gather to judge them. The sons of Ivaldi go first. Golden hair, which Sif lifts to her head, and it takes root and grows, alive, more beautiful than what she lost. Then a spear for Odin, Gungnir, which will never miss its target, no matter who throws it or how badly. Then a folded square of cloth, which opens and keeps opening until it's a warship big enough to carry an army, and then folds back down small enough to put in your pocket. The gods are stunned. Loki looks like a man who has already won. Then Brock steps forward. The boar, whose golden bristles burn like a sunrise, that runs across sky and sea faster than any horse alive. The ring that breeds gold out of nothing, every 9th night, for eternity. Extraordinary. But the Ivaldi's gifts were extraordinary too. And then he takes out the last one, the iron one, the one that came out of the fire half a second too early, a hammer. And the handle is short, too short, almost comically so, sized for one hand instead of two. Loki laughs out loud. There it is, his sabotage, sitting in the open where everyone can see it. Then Brock explains what the hammer does. It will never break, against anything. It will never miss what it's aimed at. And no matter how far it's thrown, it returns to the hand that threw it. Its name is Mjolnir, and the gods don't even need to discuss it. Brock turns around and asks for what he's owed. Thor gets to Loki before Loki gets to the door. And here, with a dwarf holding a blade and every god in Asgard watching, the trickster does the single most Loki thing in all of Norse mythology. He points out that the bet was for his head. His head, not his neck. And there is no way on earth to take a head without cutting through a neck that was never part of the agreement. The gods check it, word by word, and he's right. Technically, legally, infuriatingly right. Brock doesn't argue. He just asks his brother for an awl, a needle for punching holes through leather, and a length of cord. And he sews Loki's mouth shut, lip to lip. Because if he can't take the head, he'll take the thing the head does. That's where the scars come from. Every version of Loki after that night, every carving, every image, every story, shows the marks across his mouth. So the most powerful weapon ever made exists because of a bad haircut, a lie, a bet, and an insect bite that lasted half a second. If that fly had missed, Mjolnir would have had a long handle, and it would have been just a hammer. Tell me in the comments whether Loki deserved what he got, and vote the next legend, Fenrir, the wolf that ate a god, Ragnarok, realm by realm, or the mead of poetry, how Odin stole inspiration itself.